What's up, everyone? It is Sunday, August 11th, 2024, MMAOB Daily Podcast. I am your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel. We're going to recap UFC Vegas 95, the shit show that was, just not a good card, but we'll recap it anyways, because we don't miss a beat here on the MMAOB Daily Podcast, Marcel. We even break down these terrible cards and recap them after. So that's going to be the first half of the podcast, and, honestly, guys, this is probably a 30-minute recap. I can't see us going much longer than that. The good thing is, Marcel, we actually have I think a good card, UFC 305 after. I like the card. I'll get your thoughts on that later on, but we'll preview that on the next podcast, which will be in about, like I said, about half an hour or so. In the meantime, Marcel, how you doing, man? Glad to have you here. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, man. Lots of watching sports with the Olympics, I watched the UFC. You're fucking casual, by the way, saying it's not a good card. I'm just kidding. It wasn't a good card. Overall good, man. How about you?
Not too bad. This card wasn't great. Overall, though, a pretty good weekend. I had two softball games today, so I'm actually pretty tired right now because it's a lot. But,
Did you bought new pants?
No. I told Marcel a funny story about my pants ripping last week at the baseball game, which was fun. But no, I have another pair, thank God. But it was good. Anyways, we'll get into this card. We'll get some comments, then we'll break it down as always. We'll recap it. We got Joe in the chat. Joe, you're always here, man. We always appreciate your support. I know you sent us I don't know, Joe. You're always the first guy to reply whenever we tweet it out, so we appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Christian, what's up, man? We appreciate you too. Dude, there's no knockouts anymore. It's crazy. I just, by the way, I saw a tweet from Nate Lashaw from. He also does some writing for MMA Oddsbreaker. You know who he is, right, Marcel?
Yeah, sure.
And someone had asked him about the lack of, because he does stats, and he asked Riku about it. They were kind of talking a little bit. I just saw this tweet. He basically said that right now, so that from the first 6 months of the year, from January 1st to June 1st, or I guess it would be 5 months actually. 30, I think it was 33% or 34% of fights were anybody knockout, Marcel, and then since the new gloves, 22%. So 1 in 5 are fights, whereas before it was 1 in 3, basically. That's a big difference. Now, the other thing he mentioned, and it's a huge thing to note, very small sample size, Marcel. It's only 2 months, right? 2.5 months. We don't know enough yet. I can't blame the gloves yet, but geez, can we not get a knockout here? It sucks. Go ahead.
For me, I have the feeling, and I said it as well to a colleague of mine. The thing is, most fighters who are on these prelims, a lot of these fighters are just hanging on into the UFC, or they are just making their debut, one of the two. So they pretty much, most of them, and maybe that's the truth, but it's my feeling, most of them don't fight to win, but they fight to not lose. You know what I mean? Yep. So they don't take too many risks. They want to win the fight, but they don't take the risk that you would normally take, So
I agree.
That's the way how I feel about it.
I want to get some more comments here. We got John in the chat. How are you doing, man? Yeah, Rosa, we'll talk about her in a second. She had an impressive performance. We'll talk about the bonuses too. I know you have some thoughts as to why. West Coast always appreciates you, man. He says he doesn't use XT checking to see we're on. Yeah, we decided to do a late night edition. My daughter just left, so I'm free to do the show now. Having a few beers here with my boy Marcel, halfway across the world in the Netherlands. And we're going to recap the card and then preview, like I said, UFC 305. So just bear with us while we get through this terrible card, and then we'll preview UFC 305. All right, let me just get your thoughts. Okay, so overall, here's my honest opinion, guys. Okay, so we did the preview last week, and I said this card doesn't look that good, but I'm going to watch it because we always do. Listen, me and Marcel, we're two of the biggest fans of MMA you'll ever meet, right? I love it. When I first saw the sport, I was like, holy shit, I want to write about the sport, and this is what I want to make a career out of. And I've had a decent career out of it, These kind of cards make it hard to, love the sport sometimes because this card was so bad, Marcel. This was a terrible card. It didn't look good on paper, and I was praying it was going to be better than it looked, and it wasn't. In my honest opinion, this is the worst card of the year. And I would say it's probably one of the worst cards since I would say they went to the Apex, I guess. That's fair to say. I can't say of all time because, there's been worse cards, I'm sure. But this was a really bad card. I mean, there was three finishes. I was gonna say I would give it a 3 out of 10. That's my honest opinion. I think it was that bad. What do you think? Out of 10, I would ask you that, but I'll ask you now. Go ahead.
I were 4, but I mean, I can see a 3. Yeah, it wasn't good.
I'm looking at chat.
For
Joe
me,
said he gave it a 3 too.
So. The main event kind of saved it. I felt like because
a little bit, but
we were done.
It was fast. But yeah, I know it was a nice finish. Guys, it was a shit card, you know. And I don't want to sit here and cry about this all night. You know what I mean? But it goes back to what we said like a few months ago. You know, they stacked the deck for UFC 300. All these other cards have been suffering. These cards are, I don't know, like I love MMA, but it just doesn't seem like the UFC's trying right now. I don't know. Do you feel the same way? Like they're not really trying to give you great fights? I don't know.
I mean, yeah. On the other hand, I give him some thing with 2 or 3 fights that were falling out last
card,
week.
Sure.
That was kind of sucky, but at the same time, yeah, man. I mean, you feel they don't put a lot of effort in these UFC Apex cards, you know.
Nope.
So, it's pretty much like, and also like the bout orders don't make sense at all.
Completely agreed with that too, man. I was just going to bring it up. I mean, we talked about last week. Some of these fights are like, God, why was that Santos Chandler fight in the main card? Terrible fight, especially after Chandler missed weight. Like we'll talk about the weight misses too. 3 fighters missed weight. Fucking shit show and an amateur hour here. All right, let me get some other comments. Tristan's going to grab a beer. Do it, man. The gloves are lighter, softer. Punching speed should be faster. The gloves being softer, they have something to do with less knockouts. Again, it's such a small sample size, but it hasn't looked good lately. I'll say that. Yeah. We'll talk about roast in a second. Cod Pats, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. Very bad. Chris, what's up? Oh, your boy Jarno, or Marcel's boy Jarno. Yeah. They're announcing fights so late. I agree completely with this.
I could give you a little bit more insight
on
this.
So the Borrello and Bahayo, I should say. Yeah. And Cannonier fight. Marcel, you knew about that a little bit earlier than they announced it. Right? Go ahead.
I knew about this three weeks ago, I think, or even a month ago. But
it was in the works for a while.
It was in the works. The thing was like, if you're not from the US, normally you need a working visa, you know. So the working visa was kind of an issue, and they had to wait. And the bout got signed, I think, last week, you know, but they still had to wait for the permit. So after that came in, they announced the fight a day later, I think. So they couldn't announce it because it was like they weren't sure if they could fight. But when that was in, then it was a done deal. So it was like, I think I told Adam like 3 weeks ago already that they were working on that fight. So, but it was, I didn't talk about it at all to anybody else.
Well, it wasn't signed yet, right?
Yeah, and not because of that, but when there is no working no working visa yet, it's also in danger that the person don't get the visa, you know, if it comes out that something is going to happen while there is no how do you say that now, permit yet. So, you know, but they were in the works.
And this fight, I was going to say this card too, I feel like Spivac and Tybura was announced pretty late too as a main event, wasn't it? Like it was maybe
this wasn't supposed to be the main event.
What was supposed to be?
I don't know, but not this one.
Anyways, actually, you know, sadly enough, it was actually like one of the better fights, but I mean, it doesn't say much because this card was bad. Like it was a bad card. All right, let's get into it. Okay, as far as picks go, I guess I had a decent night, 7-3, decent. I want to say you had the same, or maybe you had
I sucked. I think I sucked. Definitely.
Which one? Oh yeah, because you picked Aaron's. I know you had to pick him. But
yeah.
What was the other? No, but you had Santos or no? You had Santos or Chandler. You had Chandler.
Chandler. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. We'll talk about the weight misses as we go through the card. Let's do that. All right. Let's start with the main event. Work our way down. Yeah, Serghei Spivac wins by submission first round. I mean, great finish. Obviously, I think we both picked him, right? I picked him.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We both
okay, that was a good pick by us. Yeah, I mean, obviously they fought before, but again, it was 4 years ago. Spivac's way better now. Training with those guys at Extreme, Francis Ngannou and some other guys. Funny enough, Carl Williams is training there too, but he was an absolute scrub on this night. But we'll talk about his performance later, which didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I mean, Spivac just getting younger. Tybura, 38 years old now, looking a little past his prime. He did look good against Tai Tuivasa, but again, I just don't think that says much, Marcel. You know, like beating Tai doesn't really mean too much at this point. Spivac looked really good, I thought. Again, the fight didn't last long, but getting a submission from guard at heavyweight is pretty rare. So it was very impressive. He won a bonus, well deserved. And kind of coming into his own a little bit. Oh, Marcel just dropped out. He'll jump back in. But yeah, I mean, I was impressed by Spivac's overall like performance, obviously, because he gets the submission. He's won 4 of his last 5 fights. But I also liked his kind of post-fight interview, the little banter there he had with Michael Bisping. You know, it seems I was saying, Marcel, I liked his his post fight with Bisping, it seems like he's kind of coming out of his shell a little bit, right? Like he's kind of developing more of a personality a little bit. You know, I've thought Spivac's been good for a while. I mean, when he first came to the UFC, he wasn't that good, honestly. But he's kind of developed into a nice fighter. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He developed into a nice fighter so far.
Right.
His record in the UFC is 8-4, so not bad, you know. And I think 7 finishes, so he's a finisher, an underrated finisher. I thought he'd win by knockout, but he gets a submission, so very impressive. If you have any thoughts about this fight, go ahead.
I mean, it was pretty quick, right? 1 minute and something, you know.
Yep.
He took that arm bar out of nowhere, and he had
nice.
it. Good for him, man. I mean, didn't fought for almost a year after that loss against Serghei, right?
I didn't realize it'd been that long. You're right, actually. It's been almost a year. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Tybura fought against Tuivasa, but I mean, listen, he got tagged by Tuivasa at the same time. When it went to the ground, we knew what was going to happen there. Yeah. And Spivac got a great win, man. I think they should make him against Curtis Blades next.
You like that fight?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jailton Almeida called him out. I don't mind that at all.
Okay with that one.
Yeah, I think both those fights make sense. He obviously deserves a top guy. It's heavyweight, right? Like, there's a ton of competition out there right now. I would assume. Well, I shouldn't say I'd assume anything at this point. I mean, who the fuck knows what's going to happen with this Jones and Stipe fight? I mean, is it even going to happen? I don't even know if it's going to happen, Marcel. I don't really, care about that fight. We've talked about this. I don't give a shit about that fight. Like,
it's like the king.
And then I'm just saying, like, we have obviously Aspinall as the interim champ. He should be the undisputed at this point. I mean, everyone thinks he's the best in the world. I think he is, except for Dana White. And then I was going to say, you also have Gon and Volkov, the rematch. I would assume they'd be Aspinall versus the winner of that fight, because I don't think that Jones and Stipe is going to fight again. But you also have Alex Pereira potentially moving up, because he didn't get booked for that fight with Ankalaev, so it's kind of weird. Like, you have to wonder, like, are they going to use Pereira for another guaranteed payday against Aspinall? Because that's going to do huge numbers. What?
DC actually called the UFC.
I saw that. I can't believe that. So, did you? Okay, so I don't know if you're watching, but like before, because this card was supposed to start at 4:00 and it ended up starting at 5, right? Like it started an hour later. So I turned on the stream and they had DC and Chael talking about it. I was like listening. I'm like, wait, DC is kind of throwing shade at the UFC. I was shocked.
Yeah,
he's not wrong either.
No, he's right. He's actually right.
Comments. We got Chris Spivac. Spivac is in good shape. Spivac versus Rosen, Tai Tuivasa winner. You could, but I think he's above those guys, man. I think he's above them. Mm-hmm. Craig, what's up, man? Glad to have you here in the chat. We always appreciate you, man. So anyways, I think Spivac, any of those guys we mentioned are good fights. And for Tybura, he's kind of a gatekeeper at this point, The Alex Pereira thing is the sexual assault thing. Yeah, I mean, there were some accusations, but I want to say that girl, like, deleted her TikTok account or whatever, right? Or something. Like, do you have any idea what happened with that? Or
I don't know, dude. I mean, as long as there is no evidence. It's a messy
thing to even talk about. Like, I don't even really want to get into it, because I think she deleted her account. But I mean, it was kind of odd timing that they announced the fight with Ankalaev, and then that happened like almost like I think the next day or something, or the day before. It was kind of odd. Wasn't that kind of odd to you? The timing of it? Yeah.
I have no
idea. I don't want to get into it. It's way too messy, and I'm not gonna. I mean, I love Pereira, and I hope that none of that stuff's true. So, all right, let's get back to the fights. This was a really good fight. Too bad it. Chepe missed weight. Chepe Mariscal defeats Damon Jackson by decision. First round was very fun. I would say, Marcel, one of the better rounds on the card, which isn't saying much again because his card was bad. But after that, kind of like one-sided for Chepe. Unfortunately, he missed weight. He came in at 149.5. His first time missing weight, I think, ever, but definitely in the UFC. But he still won the fight. He won the fight by decision over a really tough guy in Damon Jackson. 4-0 now in the UFC for Chepe. I watched the post-fight interview, and he basically said like he had made like some mistakes as far as the timing of his weight cut and stuff. And then he also said he could have made the weight he thought, but the doctor stopped him from cutting weight, which is what Tristan's saying. And Danny Barlow said the same thing. And I don't know if this was a different doctor. Was this a different doctor that they used?
I would think it's the same guy, I think it's
Jeff Davidson guy, that guy?
I don't know who, but
that's
I think
his name,
it's
Jeff Davidson. He's been the doctor for years, but it just doesn't. It's kind of weird to me. Also, like the other thing we should mention, they changed the way the the weigh-ins work for this card. So this has happened in some other states and stuff, but now no one even talked about it. And all of a sudden, Ken Hathaway from Junkie, who's always
I don't know where.
tweets it out. He's like, hey, by the way, they're only getting an hour, and then they get an extra hour if they miss weight, but they didn't even get that extra hour. So it was really weird, and that's a new thing going forward in Vegas. And I don't mind it, to be honest with you. I don't mind it. What? What did you get to? Sorry?
I also don't mind it, but it kind of sucks for the fighters. But
the other thing, it does suck for the fighters. The other thing was weird was, okay, so they couldn't cut the weight. Where the fuck was Sean Shelby? Why did we have to wait an extra like 45 minutes after the hour? I know you were waiting around for the stare downs, and you were just like me, right?
Yeah.
You're like, where the fuck are these guys? Like, I don't know what was going on. So very bizarre.
It's the same thing always with, like, I write articles, you know that, and I also want the performance and the fight of the night bonuses. Yep. Why does it take fucking an hour
after the car, I went and I did some stuff, you know, I cleaned up and stuff. An hour later, I was still looking for it. And then it finally, actually, I think Junkie had it first before.
Chris Taylor had it.
Oh, Chris Taylor. Yeah, Junkie had it before him, I think. But it was weird because, like, where did they get it from? Because the UFC didn't tweet it out until after. It was really weird. Yeah. Anyways, Chepe looked good, but again, the weight miss is bad. So 30-25 is a little wide in this fight, I think. But, I mean, at the same time, you know, the second and third round were kind of like, they were a little one-sided, I guess. I don't know.
The funny thing is, like, if Chepe keeps punching the last 10 seconds, he gets a stoppage win, man. But right at the moment, the referee wanted to jump in, he stopped punching.
I almost feel like he felt bad and just didn't want it because he missed weight. And him and Damon, I think, are pretty good with each other. And, you know, if you watch the weigh-ins, like, he shook his hand like 2 or 3 times. Like, I think Chepe felt bad about missing weight, unlike Chelsea Chandler. She did not care at all. We're going to talk about her in a minute. But I just find it odd that, like, they gave out 30-25s in this fight. And then I look at a fight recently that was kind of similar, but not even as dominant. Jillian Robertson against Michelle Watterson. 30-27. And to me, that was more of a 30-24 fight. Yeah. So very inconsistent with the 10-8 rounds, in my opinion. I think the third round could have been 10-8, but I mean, the second, I guess you could have argued it. I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but I just find it odd, like, how inconsistent they are with the 10-8 rounds. But yeah, Chepe, good win. I think he should get a top 15 guy. He mentioned a bunch of guys. Also, there's a bunch of rematches he could have because he lost to a bunch of, like, good guys before he came to the UFC. So he's an exciting guy, Marcel. You know, I think I'd like to see him fight in front of a crowd. I think he deserves a crowd. What's his last fight? No, he fought in front of a crowd twice, but the last 2 fights were in the Apex. I don't get it though. Why would they put this guy in Apex? He's a really good fighter.
I put him against Sodiq Yusuff, man.
I don't mind that fight. I was thinking Alex Caceres. I don't mind those fights at all. I saw Tristan saying Zalal. I feel like he's way above Zalal. I mean, Zalal's really good, obviously, but I feel like he's above him. They're talking about the Barlow fight. I'll talk in a second. Glenn Bob, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. The other Glenn isn't here. Obviously, the time is a little tough. So, Glenn, if you're listening in later on, we appreciate you, man, as well. But we also appreciate the Glenn Bond as well. Now let's get to the next fight here. Danny Barlow against Nikolai Veretennikov. I mean, I thought Danny Barlow clearly won the fight. I was shocked when the one judge, Jaron Vallel, who's an idiot, by the way. Go ahead.
I was laughing, it's not really like a great performer from Danny Barlow.
No.
You were in the Discord like, yeah, but he clearly won. And I agree with you. I agree with you. But I was like, it wasn't great, you know. And then Jaron Vallel, the idiot, came with 30-27. Listen, I can see 29-28. I actually can't even see that. You know, I think Barlow won 29-28. But I mean, the fight was just like, it was pretty competitive. I felt like Barlow had the harder shots, and that's pretty much what scored him the fight, in my opinion. And Veretennikov had a fun moment right before walking to the octagon where he went the wrong way.
Saw that. That's too funny. He was in the zone. Yeah, I mean, I think the third round he won, Veretennikov, but I mean, the first 2 rounds to me were clear Barlow rounds. The first round especially. Like, I saw some people saying that maybe the second and third round, maybe, but the first round clearly Barlow. And I don't know. I think a lot of people are down on this guy now, but I still think he's good. I still think he's good. And you know, Zach's in the chat now. Zach, you know, mentioned to us he's still injured. Like, he broke his hand in his last fight, and he basically came. I know it was 6 months ago, but he's basically saying now he's going to take a break again because he hurt his hand. So he's got some injuries going on. He didn't look amazing, obviously. But I also feel like Veretennikov's not bad at all. I mean, look at the Michael Morales fight on Contender Series. He didn't look that great against that guy either. Like, this guy's he's not that bad, you know? The line was, like, when we broke down the fight, I want to say Barlow was at minus 300. I think he closed at minus 400. It was just getting a little bit out of hand at that point. But, again, he clearly won the fight. And Alex Bahunin, obviously our friend here, he tweeted a picture of Jaron Villel getting a talking to from Mike Bell and Herb Dean. You saw that picture?
Yeah.
But like again, what does it change anything? No. I mean, he's going to be back in the next card judging fights.
Dude is he's an incompetent judge, and
he's not good at refereeing. And the thing is, he's Canadian. I would love to see
I'm not
Canadian.
surprised.
Nah,
just kidding.
But we've had a few Canadian refs. Like Yves Levine is gone now, but like I thought he was pretty good. Yves Levine back in remember him?
I liked Yves Levine. The only thing with Yves Levine in the beginning was that he did the stand-ups way too quick.
Yeah, and again, the sport's changed now too. You know.
Yeah, I always liked him. No problem.
Yeah, I mean,
remember when he fell on his butt? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
That was a fun moment. He
got Zach in the chat, by the way. He's saying Marcel's sporting the Apple Monster. I can't get it.
I'm sorry, bro. It's really good.
Funny. Anyways, all right, we'll go to the next fight here. Another fight that was kind of lackluster. Chris Gutierrez defeats Kwong Lee, short notice opponent by decision. I don't think we broke down this fight because it was short notice, right? We didn't end up breaking it down. But I picked Gutierrez. I'm sure you did.
Yeah,
too.
me too.
He's a huge favorite. He won this first and third round. Second round, he lost. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that great of a fight, but I like Gutierrez. You know, I've always liked the guy. He has a 9-3-1 record in the UFC. He's a good fighter, you know. But not his best performance, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This guy Kwong Lee was undefeated coming in here. He had really nothing to lose, and you know he grappled a little bit in the second round, but you know he just couldn't stop the leg kicks, the calf kicks. Yeah, you guys don't like. I've seen a lot of people not liking Gutierrez. I don't know. Like, I mean, he had those fights with Bakary Dena, Marcel, and Frankie Edgar, knocked them both out and looked amazing. And then, you know, he lost to Pedro Munoz, and it was an upset. And he just hasn't looked the same since then. Like, he's gun shy now. He doesn't want to get dropped again or something, or he doesn't want to lose. And he's kind of fighting not to lose. And you talked about this with me. I don't know if it was the beginning of this.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me of a guy that's kind of fighting not to lose at this point. He's still a good fighter, though. And also remember, guys, give him a little bit of slack because he was supposed to fight Javid Basharat, and he got a completely different opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. But yeah, he's not the most exciting guy lately, although I still think he's a good fighter, obviously UFC caliber fighter.
Yeah.
Next fight, Yana Santos defeats Chelsea Chandler, decision. Pretty bad fight, I think. I mean, Yana looked okay, I guess. Like, her striking looked good, obviously. I'll give her credit. You know, she snapped her losing skid. I really wasn't sure what to think about her. I'm really disappointed in Chelsea Chandler again missing weight. And I know you have some thoughts about this. I'll get your thoughts in a second, but didn't look like she tried at all. You know, didn't look like she tried. You know, Yana came to I don't know if you saw that, Marcel. She went like this. She goes like this.
And Chelsea walked away.
Yeah, she didn't shake her hand or anything. And I watched the post-fight interview. Yana said no one from her team reached out to apologize or give an explanation. She said that because Yana actually 3 of her last 5 opponents have missed weight, which is crazy. So she's fighting overweight opponents every fight now, almost. She said the other girls reached out and said, you know, they apologized. They had some things going on. I mean, and I will say for women fighters, they do have to deal with their period. I don't think that was the case here. This just looked like Chandler didn't give a fuck. I picked her last week. I know you. I think you picked Chandler too, right?
Yeah. We both
did you think about switching your pick after she missed weight? No. You thought the weight was going to help her, if anything, with the
no. She misses weight. She missed weight before, so I did that.
That's true, and she won, right? Her last fight.
Yeah, against Josiane Nunes.
So she has 4 fights in the UFC, never made 135, and she's ranked 14th in the division. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that literally makes no sense.
It's the same for Norma Dumont until last time she fought de Randamie. She also never made 135.
True, but yeah, this girl doesn't. I think she's getting cut. You think she gets cut? I think she gets cut.
It's very possible. The thing is, like with Chelsea Chandler, I think she said many times to the UFC that she struggles making 135, you know, and that she wants to fight at 145. But obviously, the UFC doesn't want to keep 145 around anymore. Then there are 2 options. You either make the weight 135 or you go to Bellator to 145. You know what I mean?
PFL.
So, yeah, or PFL, whatever. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like, if there was no 145 fights and you really cannot make it, you know, then it's a trouble, you know. At the same time, I would think like they have a lot of nutritionists at the PI, you know, they should be able to help her, right? I feel like.
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, she came in the UFC, she had that really good win over Julia Stoyarenko. It was nice. And then I'll give her obviously a pass on Dumont because Dumont's really good. Beats Nunes, who's I don't know how Nunes fights at 145. I mean, she's so short.
She should have 125 actually. I think.
Crazy, eh? It's so crazy to me. But this just wasn't a great fight by her. But yeah, I was listening to Yana Santos' post-fight interview. It is actually really good. So first off, her English is way better than I thought, and she still has that thick Russian accent, but
yeah,
she's just way better at conveying her thoughts. She was basically giving some thoughts about missing weight, and again, she's fought 3 fighters in her last 5 fights and missed. So she said she doesn't think the punishment's harsh enough. By the way, they've raised it from 20% to 25% now. I think you noticed that too.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But she got 25% of the purse, but she just thinks it wasn't enough. She said that she believes, she was talking about there's other promotions that take a point, and she thinks they should take 1 point. What do you think about that, taking 1 point for an overweight fighter?
Honestly, I always said, and people were always mad at me for it, if you miss weight one time, let it go. If it's under 2 pounds, let it go. I'm like, every pound you miss weight, you get a point deduction.
Ooh.
So Chelsea Chandler missed weight by 5 pounds. She got 5-point deduction. She can only win by finish. You know what I mean?
She was talking about that too. The other thing I was thinking, I've said this for a while, each pound you miss, you should get 10% fine, up to 5 pounds, so it'd be a maximum 50%, and you just can't fight. But I do think these fighters should push harder for more of the purse. Remember when William Knight fought Maxim Grishin? Was that the fight?
Yeah, that was like,
got
like 60 pounds off.
Yeah, he got like 40% or something. Like, he got a lot.
And they made it a heavyweight fight.
He was just desperate to fight. And that's the thing with Yana. So I'll get another thought on this was, she was saying, like, I wasn't sure, but, my husband, Thiago Santos, obviously was telling me I could beat this girl. And then Ali Abdelaziz, her manager, was like, yeah, take the fight. Of course, Ali's going to say that. He wants his 10% of her money. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was very risky. Dude, if she had lost this fight, I know she mentioned, like, I think they told her, like, if you lose, we'll give you 1 more. There's no guarantee that happens. There's no guarantee the UFC gives you another fight. Yeah,
she was on the losing skid, man.
I know.
And she hadn't won since before her pregnancy,
I know.
So if she says, I don't take the fight, the UFC can also say, we offered you the fight and you didn't take the fight.
I know, and I think they would cut her for that, personally. Because remember when Ed Herman, I can't remember who he was supposed to fight. And Ed was in the UFC for like 20 years almost. And they were really pissed at him for not taking a fight. I can't remember. Who was it against, Marcel? Do you remember this?
No, I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Port Fuse? Hold on. Let me double check this. It was a few years ago. It was. I can't remember what fight it was. But I think he was supposed to take a fight, and then they canceled the fight, and then they asked him to fight Kevin Holland, but he had been drinking or something at the bar. It was something like that, and they got pissed at him for that. Anyways, it's not the greatest example.
I remember that. That was on Fight Night, right? He was supposed to fight somebody, and it was that guy pulled out or whatever. Then they had the replacement, and he was like, I already been drinking or whatever.
Yeah, that's what happened, right? And I think they were pissed at him for that. They're like, what are you doing? Like, and he's like, well, you told me I'm not going to fight.
Yeah, so, he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anyways, Santos saved her job. I think they're going to cut Chandler. I think she's cut. I don't think she's that good, honestly. And she's not very exciting, dude. Quite frankly, she had a great debut, and she's so terrible since then, in my opinion.
The only thing that can save her is that 135 is like really thin, and she's ranked. You know what I mean?
Maybe
she can't make 135
because I'm assuming she got another contract after her debut. I mean, she probably did, but yeah. And just some comments. I mean, everyone's talking about Chandler. I agree with everything you guys are saying. By the way, this is a good example. Wonder Boy and Pereira, great example. They basically punished him. I feel like, don't you think?
Yeah.
He fought. He was supposed to fight, and then they were like, yeah, they were pissed at him. Oh, I mean, we agree. I think we definitely agree with this one, Marcel. With this comment here.
Yeah. No.
Ask James Lynch about him.
Yeah.
All right, go to the next fight here. Toshomi Kazama defeats Charlampos Gregorio, submission, second round, triangle choke. All right, so here's my thought on this fight. As sad as it is, if they were they only gave 3 bonuses out, but I'm kind of pissed they didn't give 4 bonuses because they're not going to. Do you think they're going to be nice and give a 5th fighter next week a bonus? Probably not.
No.
Right? No, they're going to save $50,000, which is pretty bad because they already budgeted the $200,000 for every card, right? So to me, if they're forced to pick a fight of the night and they were going to give a performance bonus to all 3 guys, I would have given this fight night because, to be honest with you, Marcel, we'll talk about the next fight, which I thought was a good fight, but this fight was probably the most exciting fight in the card for as long as it lasted. Sad as that sounds. Like, it was kind of back and forth. Obviously, Kazama won the first round. Then the second round, Charlampos drops him, starts beating his face in. You think he's going to win, then he gets subbed. The problem is the guy kind of quit. And in the first round, it looked like he wanted to quit from that illegal knee, which I don't even know if it was a legal knee. So it feels like the matchmakers are like, fuck this guy, we're not giving him a bonus. That's what it felt like to me. And they didn't want to give a bonus out to any of the other fights for Fight Night because they didn't feel there was one deserving. So they just gave 3 performance bonus, and then Dana has another $50,000 to go play blackjack with. Although from what I'm just joking, you know, he's got money anyways. But from what I was talking to Alex Bahunin about this, and I was just like, "Can you ask Dana about this next week?" And he's like, "I'll ask him," but he's like, "It's not him that does the bonus. It's Hunter Campbell and the matchmakers." And I to be honest, I doubt Hunter. I guarantee you, Dana didn't watch this card. I guarantee you,
he when Zalal against Aarons were fighting, he was like posting stories that he was doing like a cold plunge and that kind of stuff.
He wasn't watching the card. Hunter Campbell maybe was, but I don't know. The matchmakers were, but anyways, yeah, the fight was actually kind of exciting for as long as it lasted because Almas saves his job, and Gregorio is pretty bad, man. I think he's gonna get cut, but it was a good fight kind of for as long as it lasted. What do you think?
I wonder what Aljamain Sterling thought about that performance.
He must just beat the shit out of this guy in training because this guy's not good at all.
I mean, the first round, Kazama was pretty dominant with his grappling, you know, and then the second round, he knocked him down.
Yep.
And then out of nowhere, he's just resting out in his guard and he gets triangled, you know. I mean, we had the Marloes Koenen, the Dutch legend, MMA women legend, was talking about the fight. She was shocked. She was like, what the hell has happened here? I've never seen this before, you know. He pretty much stepped immediately. He didn't do any. And listen, and this is her perspective, it's not mine. So I'm not the fighter. Yeah, she's a fighter. Yeah, she was super surprised.
Marloes was tough as fuck, by the way. She was so tough. She fought Cyborg twice and got beat the fuck out of it and kept going. It was crazy.
Actually, when Cyborg came over here with vacation 2-3 weeks ago, she visited Marloes, so they went cycling and everything. Yeah. So
didn't Marloes read a tweet of mine or something? Didn't she say something like she agreed with me? Was it? Remember, like maybe a few months ago, Marloes started something I tweeted. He's like, this guy's right. You told me about this.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I was like, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah, man, true. But what this fight was just weird, man, in my opinion, you know. And I felt listen, I have nothing against Charalampos Gregorio, but I felt like he wanted to be out, man, and he was super gassed. I mean, he was just hanging in his guard, and Kazama was like, okay, I'll do the triangle.
This guy's not UFC caliber at all. I mean, I think he should be cut. He'll probably get one more because he's on a 4-fight deal. He makes 12-12. He's another contender guy, but he's not that good, unfortunately. All right, a couple of comments here. You guys were Ali takes 20%. No wonder he forced her to take the fight. We're gonna force her. Actually, I will say this. Getting back to Yana, I don't know if I should say Ali, but she said that she felt like the UFC pressured her to take the fight. She said they pressured me to take the fight. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like 5 pounds is actually it was 5.5 pounds, wasn't it?
141.
Well, that's 5.5.
141 is 5 pounds. You can be 136.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. You're right. Okay. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was a half pound extra. But yeah, you're right.
I think Chepe was 140.
Yeah, I probably think about Chepe because he was the 0.5 on him. My bad. Sorry, guys. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I mean they both missed weight. All right, a couple comments. Leslie Smith, that's a great point. Leslie Smith, Dana. I mean, remember that Marcel when she had that fight and they just paid her and they're like, well, that's a fight on your contract. You're getting cut now. And Leslie Smith's another fighter who was very exciting. Ali's with Mobstar, is he? I thought
he's with Danny.
Yeah, is he really? New manager, he says. Maybe you should double check that.
Why did you see that, Pato?
Where'd you see that? That's fine. I mean, I kind of feel like it was one. I don't know if it was the best technical fight, but it was probably the most exciting fight on the card. Sadly enough. Anakin, what's up, man? Yeah, both guys are good. Very good. Lamppost. Who's that? Who's Lamppost? Oh,
Charalampo. Come on, Zach.
It's late. What's up, Antoine? It's on his 50-minute break. Appreciate it, man. It's on your side hustle target. We appreciate you, man. Don't get fired, all right? What's up, fellas? What's up, man? Glad to have you here. I mean, yeah, Barlow, like Marcel, I kind of agree with you guys, too. He kind of fought not to lose. But again, I thought he clearly won the fight. You know what I mean? Same with Gutierrez. Again, they fought not to lose, but they both clearly won the fight. Yeah. But it's like, it doesn't get you, up the ladder either. You know, it doesn't get you fans. Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about Carl Williams in a sec. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We did, man. We appreciate you always, dude. We appreciate the support. All right, let's get to the prelims. Only 4 prelims on this card. Carol Hossa defeats Pannie Kianzad decision. I mean, there's the thing. Like, if they had to pick a fight of the night, I would have picked this fight if I had to. And I know you felt the same way. This was a good fight. I mean, and it should have been on the main card the whole time. We talked about this. Carol Hossa is looking really good lately. I mean, she's definitely improved, but Pannie is a fucking warrior, dude. And you know I've liked her for a while, Marcel. She's ready, like she's willing to give it her all in the cage. She will fight till the death in that cage. I swear to God. She had a massive cut in her head, and she's like starts calling the opponent in. It was crazy. See, Pannie's lost 4 or 5, but I don't think she gets cut. I think they give her another fight, personally. You think so, Pannie?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear anybody saying like this fight was too one-sided to get fight of the night, because Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar got fight of the night, which was
Did it? Oh my God.
Yeah, super one-sided. You know,
did Gaethje and Holloway get fight of the night too?
I actually don't know. Yeah, it should be right. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah.
Wasn't that kind of one-sided?
Yeah, it was. But yeah, that's many people always saying like yes to one side. I thought it was a fun fight, you know, and we both picked Rosa, and she did what she actually continued what she did against Aldana, pretty much, you know. And
you like Carol, huh? Like you like the improvements she's made.
She's fun to watch, you know. I think she definitely made improvements, and yeah, I think Pannie is super tough. She always been, so you know. Dude. Yeah,
dude. I think I honestly feel like most fighters in that division get finished in this fight, or they just kind of find a way out, you know. Because she could have found a way at the cut. She could have just like kind of, because dude, there were some like times where Carol had her in the clinch, and Paul Feller's like, "Why are you clinching?" And then all of a sudden she's throwing these nasty fucking elbows. He's like, "Okay, that's why she's clinching." Like I thought that was funny. He's like, "Okay, if you're gonna do that, then yeah, it's fine." I just think Pannie's like one of the most durable women in that division. I don't think she's ever been knocked out. She's been submitted a couple times, but she's like almost impossible to knock out. Now, Macy did submit her a couple times, but yeah, she's been in there with all the tough girls. I just really like her fighting style, man. I think she's an exciting fighter, and I wouldn't cut her, you know, even though she's lost 4 or 5. And that's what we talk about this all the time. Like, it's not just wins and losses. Sometimes it's how you perform in the wins and losses, you know? Anyways, getting back to Hossa, the one thing I'll give her a bit of a knock on. She's 7-3 in the UFC, which is nice, but all of her fights have gone the distance. No finishing ability at all. So that's not good. Yeah.
Tell you, bro, if she fights like her last 2 fights, I don't mind.
The fight, then maybe the finish will come too. I mean, because she's improved. Dude, Irene Aldana was one of the best fighters in the weight class. That was a close fight. Dude, she also dropped Norma Dumont in their fight. She dropped her. So she's improving. I've liked her since she came to the UFC. The only fight where I was like really disappointed was the fight with Sarah McMahon, where she was favored to win and she got smoked,
I remember that.
Which was like, wow, how did she lose this? But that was only 2 years ago, which is crazy to me. Feels like way longer. But you know, Sarah's way older now. If they rematch, I mean, Carol, I think.
By the way, shout out to Sarah McMahon, because I think her student won gold medal in the Olympics.
That's great. Yeah, that's crazy. Also, Lupi Godinez' sister, what's her name? Anna Godinez. She fought in the bronze medal match and lost for Team Canada. But I think she'll fight in MMA eventually, because like, where does a wrestler go? You know, after the Olympics. I mean, maybe she'll fight or not fight. I guess wrestle. Kind of fighting too. I mean, it's pretty brutal. Some of these throws they do, man, it's crazy. The pins and stuff, it's pretty nuts. I think maybe she'll wrestle again in Los Angeles in 2028, but I think you could see Anna Godinez in MMA at some point. I think she could follow her sister to the UFC eventually. I mean, she'll probably, you know, go in the regional scene, maybe Battlefield, because she's from Vancouver or British Columbia. She'll kind of BFL, fight there a couple fights, and then go to Contender Series. I think they'll try to fast track her because of her. She's an Olympic background, dude. I mean, that's anyone who has an Olympic background. You know how hard it is, Marcel, to wrestle in the Olympics. You have to be pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? Even though she lost. Now, you don't have to be pretty good to breakdance, apparently. I don't know if you saw that, but that was...
Jeez, the Australian, yeah. But, you know, I tell you, to be honest, man, I think, listen, I don't care about the breaking. If they like it, they got to do it. But for me, I don't see that as an Olympic kind of thing.
No, it shouldn't be the Olympics. So, like, I will say some of the, you know, performers are very good. They're very talented. But to me, that's not an Olympic sport. You know what's funny? I don't know if you saw Dana White's like, yeah, they should put MMA in the Olympics. And they're going to do it. And he's going to say, none of you guys are going to fight in the Olympics. You're not letting you go to the Olympics. That's what's going to happen.
Plus, they're going to probably wear headgear. You cannot do this. You cannot do that, because
I don't think it's a good idea, honestly. I actually don't think it's a good idea, because you're going to have guys get injured and then you're not going to fight again. Also, were they going to fight and then fight a week later or 3 days later or something? It's not going to work. You know, it won't work. The only way it could work is if you had all the fights in the UFC beforehand, and it was like the tournament final in the Olympics for a gold medal or something. That's the only way it would work, and it won't ever happen like that. All right, let me get some other comments here. We had some people talking about the host of the fight. Capato liked the fight, back-to-back bangers. I agree. Tristan, Panty's a jack of all trades, master of none. Kind of agreed. I mean, her striking's okay, but yeah, I mean, she got hurt bad those calf kicks. Yeah, that's good comments. Oh yeah, that's right. Yuri and Rakic, that was a good fight too. Yeah, I like her too. Who took the most damage on the card? Probably Damon Jackson, I would think, right?
Yeah,
he got beaten up. I don't know how he made the bell. I mean, that's again. I feel like at the end, Chepe could have finished him. It just felt bad. Nepotism in the UFC is strong. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, she's definitely going to the UFC one day if she wants to fight in MMA. Which again, what is she going to do? Go to pro wrestling? Is she going to do WWE? I mean, what else do you do if you're a wrestler? Like the next thing is UFC or MMA. Hey, should probably like Terrence McKinney. That'd be fun. I think that girl won Femke Bol, the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, we got 15 gold medals. I think it's
really
a record for the Netherlands. We were 6 on the gold medal
good job
list. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good fight, but again, it's not saying much. I will say this because this card was shit. All right, let's go to the next fight. Jonathan Denise defeats Carl Williams. What the fuck was Carl Williams doing? We're all like in the Discord chat going, what is this guy do? Like, why is he not wrestling? And then Marcel, he starts wrestling in the 3rd round after he's lost 2 rounds. Like, what the hell is this? Tell me, what the fuck was this?
I mean, I was waiting for him to take him down, but it took till tomorrow before he did. You know what I mean? I mean, you got a wrestler against a striker, a guy who is not really great in striking, a guy who is pretty good in striking, and a guy who has problem preventing the double leg or the single leg. What are you going to do as a wrestler? You're going to strike with him. It was really weird. If I knew Williams would have this game plan, I would have picked Denise. You know what I mean? But
I agree. You know, I don't regret picking Williams though. I really don't.
I mean,
you saw in the 3rd round if you got the takedown, which you did, like how dominant he was, right?
What's the logical pick? You know,
I will say this: like the 1st round, I think you can give that round up because, like, you know that Denise was going to come out strong, right? He's got some power. Like, and he did actually. I'm looking at the stats. He shot 2 takedowns, so he didn't get them. It's like, okay, don't want to completely deplete your gas tank. But the 2nd round, no takedown attempts. That's where it was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And obviously, people that bet on Williams were like, oh shit, I'm going to lose my money on this guy because you knew you were in trouble, right? Almost had that fake comeback in the 3rd round, but just didn't end up doing it. Jonathan Denise, an exciting guy. Exciting addition to the roster. Former Glory kickboxer Marcel. I like the guy. What do you think about him? Do you like him?
I think he's fun as long as he doesn't get taken down. You know, that's a problem here for him.
He's going to get taken down. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's what I think so too. You know, so that's pretty much the problem here. You know, I think he's fun to watch.
Yeah, who do we match him up with next? Like another striker though? Like, can we give him a striker, please? Like,
yeah, well, can you give him Rebellis to Spain if the Spain gets past Austin?
They could do that. I almost feel like he could get a bigger fight. But by the way, is this fight real between Derek Lewis and Romanov? Is that true? Is that actually?
I don't know, man. I haven't posted it because I don't have Derek's side, so I don't know.
Bro, I don't understand that fight really at all, to be honest.
It's 12 against 14, right? So
it's 11 against 13, but
or 11, 13.
I'm looking at it right now, by the way. I don't memorize that stuff. But Derek just beat Nascimento and Romanov lost to Almeida. So why are they doing that? It doesn't. By the way, who's Rogerio de Lima fighting? Who's he fighting?
He was fighting Kennedy and Zechiku.
Why?
I don't know.
But why is Kennedy get a ranked guy going up from after a horrible loss to OSP? I think the Lima versus Denise would have been fun, personally.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like Denise. I think he's a nice addition because he's a good striker. But yeah. All right, couple comments. Sorry guys, there's a lot of comments.
You know what would be fun? Jonathan Denise against Chris Barnett.
Is it Barnett fighting someone? Or?
Yeah, he's supposed to fight Waldo Cortez across.
Yeah, I mean even Waldo Cortez against Denise would be okay too. But yeah, Chris Barnett against Denise would be fun. Yeah. Makai's comments about the manager. I guess, but he still went for the takedowns in the 3rd round though, man. So I don't really think that came into play personally. I mean, Makai was a different case, I think. They already hated the guy for whatever reason. They just didn't like the dude. I know Marcel has a lot of thoughts about Muhammad and his release from the UFC. I know you think it's one of the worst releases. By the way, I was thinking back to the flyweight division. Askar Askarov was released too. Did he ask for his release or did they cut him?
I think it was the end of the contract, and I'm not sure what happened.
What the hell, though? He was good too.
I mean, they had 3 Russian guys who are really good, in my opinion. You had like the Makayev, you had Askarov, but also you had Bibulatov, you know.
Bibulatov was kind of disappointing, though, a little
bit.
He
got knocked out by Kariasu, but he got robbed against Bontorin, and then they cut him because they wanted to get rid of the flyweight division, you know.
I remember that's crazy what they did. Yeah. All right. Marcel's gone. He's come back. I agree with you, Pato, that the matchmakers shouldn't do that, but I think, again, it's a different case with Makayev. Like, they had other problems with this guy. It wasn't just the thing with the wrestling. But, yeah. All right, a couple of comments. We got hype in the chat. Glad to have you here, man. Needed the ticket chance clinch. Oh, I'm talking about Carl, yeah. Denise Budai. That's another fight that makes sense. They could do that. Yeah, it's Spivac and Blades. Oh, yeah, actually, this is a good fight. Gaziv versus Denise. I like that fight. God, Gaziv's fight was so bad the last fight. He knocked the fat off Barnett. God. UFC wants Kennedy the rankings. Why? He's not even that exciting. Why? I don't understand. They would kind of sign with Brave or Rise. There was, I think, a rumor he signed with Brave, right? Wasn't there a rumor?
There was a rumor, yeah, because somebody he posted his new gloves, and somebody checked, and it was like the gloves from Brave, you know. So
I mean, that's what I said though when they cut him. I was like, he's probably gonna go back to Brave. It makes sense, like you know, or like I said, like there's not many options for flyweights. There's no PFL, there's no Bellator. All right, I mean, we have 2 more fights. Yusuf Zalal, great performance against your countryman.
Yeah.
Submission. 2 straight wins for Yusuf. I know you like Yusuf. It's hard for you because you're really close to Yarno. I get it. But Yusuf's looked good since he came back, man. You know, Marcel, 5-3-1 in the UFC now. I just wonder, like, why was he so low on this card? That's the only thing that doesn't make sense to me. Like, are they not high in him or something? Like, it's just kind of weird, right?
I don't know. Both guys lost to Sung Woo Choi. I don't know. This may be why they matched.
That's so odd. Sung Woo Choi is not good at all, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think he's good at all.
I think that's why they might match them up pretty much, because UFC loves to do that, right? When 2 guys fought the same guy, they match them up together.
Like Steve Garcia, right? And Sung Woo Choi. They both. Was it? Remember? Or no, it was Makizio Costa, right? And he fought. Steve Garcia, and then Shaylin Nurebeka fought him too, and they matched the guys up. They like to do that, yeah.
They do that all the time, man. So, it's like, listen, man, with the striking, I thought it was pretty even, you know, and then when he took him down, it was over pretty much because he tried to get out of it, you know. Yusuf took his back, and he choked him out, you know. It was like pretty much immediately from his back, you know. Good one for Yusuf. Fucking sucks for Yarno. I think, listen, there was his last fight on his contract, so I think he will probably be cut. He's 1-3 in the UFC.
Yeah.
So,
I think so too, probably. But he did win a bonus his last fight. So, are you sure it's his last fight of his contract? You sure?
Yeah, 100%. He said it explicitly to me in an interview.
Did he? Because I thought he would have gotten another contract after winning Fight of the Night. That's the only thing I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, I was hoping that for him as well, but he said, I have to win this last fight on my contract, and yeah, plus the Dana White Contender Series are starting, you know, so they're trying to get rid of some guys on the roster. It sucks for him, man. I wish him all the best all the time. I wish he did better, but yeah, it sucks.
You're going to see UFC roster watch go and cut a bunch of guys very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, you know, report the cuts. I will say this. I thought Yarno looked pretty good on the feet before he got taken down, you know, but once he got to the ground, that's why I picked him last week. Zalal was just, you know, it was like a knife through butter, man. He looked good in the ground. Zalal's a very good fighter, in my opinion. So I think he's looked great. And then opening the card, Stephanie Luciano. I thought she had a really good performance against Talitha. What? Yeah. Right? Like, I think, why not give her a bonus?
She looked really sharp.
Why not give her a bonus? Like, this girl could use that money, don't you think?
For sure, man. And plus, I thought that Talita would grapple more in this one, you know, but she was like, no, and she was kind of reaching because she had a pretty big reach advantage.
1 for 10 in takedowns.
Yeah.
So, and then the first fight, 4 for 24. She's not like the best wrestler, but I'm just saying, like, Luciano's got good takedown defense. She's fought her twice now, and she's defended, or I should say, Alan Carr's 5 for 34 in takedowns. So that's pretty fucking good defense from Luciano, who's only 24 years old, who has really good striking, who looked really good in this fight. And I think the future's bright for this girl. And the commentators were like, they were liking it too. I liked it too. It's too bad it was the first fight in the card because I feel like if it was on the main card, more people would be talking about this girl. Dude, she looked good, man.
They had the worst women's fight on the main card.
That's so crazy. 3 women's fights, and they put the shittiest one on the main card. What the fuck, man?
I fully agree with Dirty Rack 22, man. The last comment, 5-inch height advantage. She used it well.
She used it really good. Well. She stayed really on the outside, picked her apart, got a knockdown. She just looked good, dude. It was a really good performance, and I think, again, we've seen them give bonuses for decisions, right? Like they've given decision fights bonuses before.
I always have the feeling like, and I don't say Stephanie Luciano is poor, but keep the poor. You know what I mean? This is a little bit what they do.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. I feel like, I'm just pissed that they only gave 3 bonuses. To me, it bothers me because it's just like, this is such this company makes so much money. They are loaded. They have tons of money. They earmark $200,000 every event. They're like, okay, we're giving 4 bonuses. And again, you heard Dana at that card in Manchester. He's like, we're never giving our bonus money again. We're not doing it. We're never doing this. I'm never doing this. The fighters didn't fight harder. Did they fight harder? No. He was fucking pissed, Dana. And rightfully so, because honestly, Marcel, that card wasn't that good, right? Manchester. So I get it, but at the same time, Patty Pimblett gets $200,000, and then these other fighters are having pretty good performances, get nothing. It bothers me. It really does, dude. So I really hope because this card, which we're going to break down in a minute here, 305, I feel like you're going to see a lot of finishes. Hopefully, man. Hopefully these new gloves give us some knockouts and submissions even. But do you think they'll give a 5th bonus to be like, oh, we didn't give one last week, we're going to be nice and give it? I don't think so.
They did before that. They only gave 3 bonuses out, like I think a year ago with a card, and they also
pretty rare, dude.
And they also had a fucking draw on that card, so they didn't have to.
Yeah, I remember that. I think you were telling me with the cheap bastards. Who, Alan Carr? Yeah, she's very small for that division. Chepe and Jackson. Yeah, well, Chepe missed weight, so they're not. And then Jackson got beat up for 3 rounds. They're not going to give him a bonus.
I think that they maybe considered that fight as a fight of the night, but they were then we have to give Damon Jackson $100,000, and they probably didn't want to do that. I think.
And that's the thing. They did give fight of the night once to Jeff Neal and Javkat when Jeff missed weight, but that's the only time it's ever happened.
Yeah, they gave the $50,000 to Jeff actually that night.
To Jeff? Yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying. It's very rare though. You know what I mean?
But I think one time, with Julian Arosa against somebody, I think the opponent missed weight and they gave $100,000 to Julian.
They did that a few times. There was another guy.
Mershart?
Maybe. Josh Sampo. Remember him?
Yeah. The gremlin or whatever.
Yeah. He had a fight against. Yeah. No, sorry. Ryan Benoit lost, but it was fight of the night. Ryan Benoit got $100,000 after Sampo missed weight. That's
the Pettis kicker, right?
The what?
The Pettis kicker.
Yeah, he got Sergio. Yeah.
And then he kicked him afterwards. The ref was already in between.
That was crazy. He won that fight. But I'm just saying, they did that before where, a loser gets $100,000, but that was, a better fight. You know what I mean? So, 307 main event? What is that, in Utah?
Yeah, I think he wants us to talk about Rocky against Juliana Pena or something.
Is it official?
No, it's not, but it's...
Is it happening?
It looks like it might be that. I mean, some people think now it's maybe Pantoja against Kai Asakura because Kai Asakura said fight camp started today. But, I don't know. It would be at least a better one than Rocky against Juliana, I think, We'll see.
Yep, 7 straight decisions. Yep. Claudio, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. Dude, I mean, the product right now is not its best. This isn't the UFC I fell in love with, Marcel. This is my honest opinion. It's not the UFC you fell in love with, is it?
No, of course not, man. It's and the Apex is going to go from November till July, I think. I mean, the thing is, are they going to keep where they're going to do the events? Are they going to go to different places the whole damn time? Or are they going to go back a little bit on events? Because I think also the ESPN deal is done after this year, right? So
I agree. By the way, I get this comment from Jamie. Yeah. Jamie, you fucker, man. He says they want to take Rocky Jr. from Canada.
He's right.
No, well, the rumor is they're going to do Romanov and Derek Lewis as the main event.
No, it's not the main event.
It's not? Okay, thank God. Because I was like,
I think Mike Malott might be the main event.
You're joking.
No.
Can you tell us?
Might be. No, I don't know against who, but that's what I've heard.
Oh, come on. Now you get us half of the fight.
No, I really don't know. I swear. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I don't mind that, even though Mike lost to Magny, obviously. But I don't mind that because I'd rather see that than,
I think Lewis is happy it's not the main event. He doesn't
want 5 rounds anyways. Why do they have to give Derek Lewis 5? I'm not a fan of heavyweight fights 5 rounds for main events.
Bro, I love it when everybody said, like, fuck Lewis Nascimento main event. And then Lewis is like, yeah, I don't like it either. It's like, why do the UFC does that, man?
Okay, here's a comment, by the way. Who wins Josie Aspinall, Adam Marcel? I mean, how do you not pick Tom Aspinall right now, right? What do you think?
The thing is, like, you would say, but at the same time, we all know Jones. He is so diverse in what he can do, you know? And listen, I'm not Dana White here. I'm not gonna suck his dick or whatever. But Jones is good, man. We got to give him the credit for it.
He's the best fighter of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, right now, you know, I still think he's good right now.
He's great, but like again, that Gon fight was so quick, dude. Like we didn't really learn anything from it. Like we learned he could choke a Gon, but like it didn't go even past a round.
And the thing is, like, Jones has fight IQ.
I was gonna say, then Tom doesn't fight past the round anyways, right?
Yeah, and both guys have fight IQ. You know, Tom has it, but Jones has it as well.
You know what? We're never gonna see this fight. We're never.
We're never gonna see that fight. You know.
There's other fights that we're never like. I mean, even I know that Francis is in PFL. I still think Francis and Jones is an interesting fight. You know, actually, I will say this: isn't it damn shame Francis isn't in the UFC anymore because it's an extra guy at the top of the division, right? Isn't it a fucking shame?
Of course it is. Also, people are now like really intrigued in the Ngannou Ferreira fight. I'm not really.
Why? He's going to destroy him. Do you care about that fight?
I don't.
I think he's like a -600 favorite.
I thought it was -300. Okay,
is it only -300?
Maybe it's being bigger now. I don't know. You should check it.
I want to check. -350. All right. Yeah. I thought it was more than that. I have him at -600 in my mind. I think he destroys him. We appreciate that, man. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, we're having fun tonight. We're having fun. You know what's funny? I was like, Marcel, we're gonna do like this recap for half an hour. We ended up doing a fucking hour.
Yeah, man.
Because like we were shitting on some stuff, but yeah, we've had some fun on the show lately. Doing it Sunday night, you know, different vibe. You know, cracking open a couple beers here. Yeah, I mean, there's yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like there's a different like UFC right now. It's not the UFC I fell in love with. It's not the like I fell in love with the UFC, Marcel, from like 2009 to 2014 kind of era. I would say like that's the UFC I love. You know, like that's to me like the best UFC. Like Brock Lesnar, Anderson Silva, even GSP, John Jones. Like these are all the best fighters of all time. They were all fighting in their primes. What do you say?
I always said, like, people are like, oh, we want to have this, like, on Prime TV and everything. I think it kind of killed something of the sport, you know, to get it, like, more, how do you say that? Mainstream is the right word, yeah, because back in the day, nobody cared about a double champion, you know? It was just, like, defending your belt, becoming the greatest of all time in your weight class, you know? And now it's like, after one title defense or two, oh, I want to switch, yeah, I want to have a second belt, and I want to have a third belt, you know? Yeah. And all these, like, these newer fight fans, and no disrespect to the newer fans, they're like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Listen, man, what was really amazing was an Anderson Silva, a GSP, a Mighty Mouse, who defended the belt like fucking 10 times, for example, you know, and being fucking dominant in the division. And people were actually thinking like these guys are not beatable. And then out of nowhere, Chris Weidman beats Anderson Silva. GSP retires. He won against Johnny Hendricks, but he just got by. You know what I mean? BJ Penn lost to Frankie Edgar the first time. Was a big upset. I remember when I was watching that. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like people don't care about it anymore. You know.
No, I agree. I mean, there's some guys arguing in the chat a little bit about the Francis and coming back from boxing. I just think it's a different sport. You know, I get what you're saying, Mark, as a comment saying like, you know, because he got brutally knocked out. I get it, but I just think, you know, Anthony Joshua was a like night and day better striker than Henry Ferreira. Personally, I mean, who knows? Like it's MMA. You never really know. But
I don't know if I said on the podcast, but two friends of mine was like the first fight from Francis against Tyson Fury. I think, and there's no disrespect to Francis, I think Tyson Fury took him light. You know, he was like, this is a guy coming from MMA. Yeah, and he got knocked down in that fight. I also thought he lost. Yeah. But then the second fight, he fights Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua saw that first fight. He's like, this is not going to happen to me. You know, so he was on his A game when he fought.
Killed him. That was a crazy knockout. By the way, I completely agree with this comment. I mean, I think you agree. They're profit focused right now. They're cutting quality fighters for higher quantity. Completely agreed.
I said in the Discord, actually.
I know
so, yeah.
Well, I mean, is it a bad thing they have less fighters that are better? I don't think it's a bad thing. Go ahead.
Problem is they have to fill these cards because of the ESPN
But we don't need.
deal.
Do we need a fucking 4 cards every month?
No, I agree. Fully agree with you. I would be favor in like every month, one pay-per-view, one good fight night card. I do one at the fucking Apex. Do the last fighters there. So they have.
I like that actually. I like that. Do one do a pay-per-view. You're always gonna. That's their bread and butter. Then you do one fight night in front of a crowd somewhere, and then you do one Apex show, and then you have 1 week off. Yeah. And as someone who covers the sport, like I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it is nice to have a week off sometimes.
Of course,
it is. It is. So I completely agree with what you're saying. I don't know if it's contender series necessarily, but there is a lot of fighters right now, or there are a lot of fighters that should not be on the roster. There's a lot of fighters are not UFC fighters. They're on the UFC.
Also, the Ultimate Fighter is not necessary, in my opinion. With the Dana White Contender Series. I know that. Listen, man, that Robert Valentin guy, I like him. He's fun to watch. I've seen him fight in the Netherlands over here. But at the same time, give him a shot at the Contender Series. Why do we have to see this Ultimate Fighter? I know there are people who still like it. But I think it's like an old format that doesn't really work anymore.
It's too much, and I agree with you. And I agree with this. I mean, they're mid cards. Completely agreed. Watered down. I mean, agreed. I agree with everything you guys are saying.
And there is no disrespect to the fighters here at all. It's more as a promotion. I feel like the UFC was always, since Pride left, pretty much the pinnacle of the sport, and now it's like you can come into the UFC with a 5-1, 5-0, 6-3, 6-4 record, and that wasn't there before. Yeah, maybe it was because it was the beginning of the sport with the Ultimate Fighter. I think Matt Riddle came in the UFC with a 0-0 record.
I also feel like you had more personalities before. I think like the Reebok deal and the Venom deal and the Reebok, it kind of feel like it killed the personalities. Like I loved when you had all those guys with the bad boy shorts like Anderson Silva, Shogun, Gustafsson. You had Tito Ortiz, the Flames. You had
Silva Star.
Yeah, that was another one. You had Ice Band shorts. I'm just saying like that. To me, it was more personality. Mm. I agree with that 100%. You can say that again, man. I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
And I'm going to print that out and put that above.
I'm going to fucking go whack off to it later. Thanks a lot, man.
Hands above the table, Adam.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? They were there. I still remember when Henry beat Magnum Mouse and just getting shot. I agree. I mean, that was surprising. Yeah, you guys are just talking. I'm just going to go through the comments. Yeah, there's not enough finishes. He's 100%. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Honestly, it does. Not enough finishes at all. Who went 12 rounds? Hoist? Oh, yeah. Hoist is a legend. I named my daughter after him, right? Racy. Well, family, I guess. Love the sport so much, man. Machado came here. It's a good... Wait. Machado? Baralo, you mean? Machado?
Yeah, he means Baralo, probably.
Who's Kyle Machado? God, I wouldn't want... God, please don't put that guy in the main event. Actually, you know what? He'll probably fight in the Edmonton card. I would imagine he'll be, right? Yeah. You know who he's fighting?
No. Okay, I have nothing on the shelf, dude. I
don't believe you, but it's okay. Matt Pearl's. Oh yeah, Matt Riddle. Dude, Matt Riddle's a great fighter. That I know. I don't know if he's doing wrestling or he retired.
Yeah, he does.
He was a great fighter who smoked weed at the wrong time because he had 2 no contests for smoking weed.
Yeah.
Dude, he had some crazy fights. He had a standing arm triangle choke against Chris Clements at that horrible card in Calgary back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That card was shit. But it was like funny to like laugh about it after. It's like this card was bad. Ha, ha, ha. Like these cards now, it's like, oh, this is shit, and it was just shit. You know what I mean,
bro?
Like
he had the fucking crazy knockout on the Ultimate Fighter where the guy was like,
What's the guy's name? His name? He was Bellator. Try to think. Don't Google this. Let's think of the guy's name. He's got a funny nickname. Oh, scary nickname or something. His nickname, Nader or something. Is that you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know who it is.
Something scary nickname. I think his nickname is. What's the guy's name? You guys gotta help me out here. Oh,
I'll just look it up. I don't know.
I know I'm checking now. Is it Matt like Jeff Nader or something? Is that the guy's name? Am I thinking of someone else? Scary nickname. I think that's his name.
Scary nickname.
Oh no, the thing you're thinking was Dan Simler. That was the one you're thinking about.
Yeah, Dan Simler. Yeah.
Who's the guy I'm thinking about? Someone's got to help me out here. Check. Scary nickname Nader, but it's a different guy. but I just thought that nickname was always hilarious. He fought Dan Kramer, who fought Matt Riddle. That's what I was thinking about. Remember that guy, Dan Kramer?
Yeah, I even have his autograph on the top card.
Oh, you? Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about because they fought. Anyways, he was on Ultimate Fighter. Sorry guys. Josh Neer was I love Josh. That's what I'm saying. I love this era of the sport. Josh Neer was great. The dentist.
Yeah.
He was awesome. That's again, Marcel. Don't you feel like the nicknames back then were better too? Like they had better nicknames.
Bro, I remember somebody put on YouTube a clip where he interviewed Josh Neer, and he put in the title, "When walking to the dentist, I came across Josh Neer," and somebody commented under it, "So you just came across Josh Neer when you went to the dentist? That's crazy. What are the odds?"
You guys have great memories. You said he's impressed. I mean, dude, like I've been watching the sport for a long time. So has Marcel. You know, when I first started talking to Marcel on Twitter, we quickly became friends because we both love the sport. It's my favorite sport, dude. And I'm just disappointed by the product right now. You know, that's the truth. I agree with this too. I mean, he's not wrong. Marcel, the gambling thing. I also feel like that's another thing. They're pushing these fights up because DraftKings and all these other sports books are like, let's bet on these fights. Bet on these fights. You can make money. Do these parlays with 3 different fighters that are probably not going to win. You can win $100 to win $2,000 or something. Like they're never going to win. So, completely agree with that. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I watch the sport before I gambled. You know, and I don't have to gamble to enjoy the fights. You know, I know a lot of people do. And I get it, but I don't have to watch the fight and have money on it to enjoy them. You know, I always tell people, like, there's 12 fights on the card usually. I wouldn't bet on more than 2 or 3 fights. I don't think it's the right thing to do because there's so much volatility in the sport too. I just think it's better. And I heard that a long time ago, like, you know, pick 2 or 3 fights. It served me well. So, but I completely agree.
You have a Jaron Fallel in the sport, so I mean,
fucking guy. All right, I think we're gonna end this though because we've talked for a while.
Yeah, over an hour.
Yeah, we're over the time limit kind of. But we're gonna do UFC 305 preview, guys. So I'm excited about that. So just give me a minute here. I'm gonna tweet it out. We're gonna do UFC 305. I hope you guys can still join us. There's a lot of people in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Just give me about like less than 5 minutes. We'll probably start. You know what? 7:53. Yeah. So before 8 o'clock, we'll have the next one set up. Just give me a minute here. I'll tweet it out. It'll be on the Oddsbreaker YouTube. Just give me a minute here. We're going to preview UFC 305, but we appreciate you guys all joining us for this. Thanks again, guys. And just be back in a minute here, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Preview UFC 305.